You long believed to be true but realized wasn't?
Well, as one of the main opponents of the Illuminati, I always wanted to know what information they had that we didn't.
Now we finally have an update on the drowning death of Malcolm-Jamal Warner. Now, according to ABC7, they stated that Malcolm-Jamal Warner had drowned while he was on vacation in Costa Rica. Now, the article goes on to say that Warner had drowned off the coast of Costa Rica on Sunday.
Life, it's fragile, and in the blink of an eye,
you never know.
You never know. So speaking of legacy, what do you hope that your legacy is going to be?
There is part of me that I will be able to leave this earth, knowing and people knowing that I was a good person.
I spent, so much of the early part of my life listening to being celebrated on one hand, but paying way too much attention to the naysaying.
These are the first things we saw when we pulled up to the beach. Signs in Spanish and English warning people about potentially hazardous conditions. This sign even giving a roadmap for how to escape a rip current.
Katt Williams been calling this out for years. If you don't follow Hollywood's unspoken rules, especially as a black man, they'll throw you to the side like you never existed. And when you take a closer look at Malcolm-Jamal Warner's story, it all starts clicking into place. He didn't care about chasing fame or being some industry puppet. In fact, he straight up turned down roles that made black men look goofy or clownish.
Rican Beach, where officials say a dangerous rip current swept away Malcolm-Jamal Warner. The Cosby Show star drowning in secluded paradise on Sunday.
What makes that beach so treacherous?
It's similar to other beaches where there are strong rip currents that are deceiving.
Mike Geist helps run a volunteer lifeguard organization here. He says while no lifeguards were on duty that day, Geist's friend, who happens to be a trained lifeguard, was there to surf and discovered Warner unresponsive in the water. Costa Rica's Red Cross says they were able to rescue another man alive who was taken to a clinic in critical condition.
Rica, Jesse, officials say Warner's autopsy is now complete.
It was completed this morning, according to authorities, Tom, and they say that it confirmed that Warner's drowning death was, in fact, an accident.
He refused to play that dress-up game or act like a joke just to get a check, and that boldness came at a price. Hollywood didn't like it one bit. They didn't blacklist him for lack of talent. Please, the man was gifted. They froze him out because he had a spine and said no to the circus. But now that he's gone, everybody want to act brand new. Suddenly he's a legend. All these blogs and celebs are giving him his flowers when he's not even here to smell them. Where was that energy before? Where were the headlines, the praise, the support when he was alive and doing real work on his own terms?
So even before conception, we were very clear we were having a girl. And I knew that I needed a girl first to kind of ease me into it, because I have a pretty good idea of what kind of father I would be. So I needed a girl to kind of slow me down and warm and soften me up, if you will. So for me, raising my daughter, I came into fatherhood already with a certain maturity and certain understanding of male-female dynamics. And with a girl, all of that starts with the father. So I've always, since I literally pulled her out of my wife.
This ain't about pushing wild conspiracy theories. It's about calling out the pattern. Katt Williams been trying to wake people up. The industry has a way of punishing those who won't play the game. And sadly, Malcolm was one of them. Let's get into the facts. What Katt Williams has been exposing, what Malcolm stood for, and why the world only started screaming his praises after he was gone. Malcolm-Jamal Warner, the man who gave life to Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show, tragically passed away on July 20th, 2025. He wasn't caught up in scandal or anything shady. He was just being a dad.
Of us make choices. I think it's not a biggest choice for others. I'm saying at the end of the day, Kevin doesn't have to worry about what people are going to say about him wearing a dress because of the long line of dress-wearing people before him. So now we have Big Mama's house 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. I've never seen Medea in a pantsuit. I think she wears dresses. So now I'm saying, why are we picking on poor little Kevin Hart? Because it was his turn next. Some of us are against the Illuminati, and we are against the Illuminati at our own detriment. When people are against the Illuminati, then they get punched in the face all the time. The press hates them, and nobody likes them. End quote.
We all love Dave Chappelle.
Exactly. Dave Chappelle has never been a part of the Illuminati. They don't want him or me or people like us.
Malcolm was on a family vacation in Limon, Costa Rica, spending time with his 8-year-old daughter. They were swimming when things took a terrifying turn. A deadly rip current pulled them under. This particular beach is known for having dangerous currents, and worse, that day no lifeguards were on duty. Local officials had moved emergency resources to other beaches after a string of accidents, leaving this spot unguarded. Thankfully, some nearby surfers saw what was happening and jumped into action. One brave surfer managed to pull Malcolm's daughter to safety. Another went after Malcolm himself. But by the time emergency crews arrived, it was too late. They couldn't revive him. Malcolm died from asphyxia due to submersion.
Has never been a person that has been parodied 9 times on Saturday Night Live and yet never been invited other than me. I, at this point, take it as a badge of honor that they don't fuck with me. A lot of times when people are doing an impression of you, they're really showing you how they feel about you. You know what I mean? So for Saturday Night Live to have an impression of me and have a woman do that means they think I'm a bitch. And I understand that that's what they're saying when they do that. I understand how the game goes, and I understand that if you love me, I know why you do. And if you don't with me, I understand why.
He drowned trying to protect his child. The surfer who tried to save him ended up in the hospital in critical condition. When the autopsy came out, it confirmed what everyone feared. This was a heartbreaking accident, not some twisted mystery. Here's why Malcolm's death shook people to their core. He was one of the very few Hollywood child stars who never lost himself in the fame.
For the title is combating the narrative of black life, black culture that the media focuses on. And
that we're all one thing.
Yeah, and the whole concept is, we're not all hood. The black community is not a monolith.
No scandals, no breakdowns, no mess. He was solid, a self-made multi-millionaire, Emmy-nominated actor, Grammy-winning musician, powerful poet, sharp director, and bold social activist. He didn't just talk the talk, he walked it. He stayed married, no drama, no divorces. He raised his daughter right and had no kids outside his marriage. That alone sets him apart in this industry.
There should be a moratorium on both of those words in hip-hop because it's low-lying fruit, it's so easy, everybody fucking does it, to the point that it's corny. Like there are MCs who I love, who I cannot listen to anymore because I love J. Cole, but I had to stop listening to J. Cole because I got tired of hearing nigga and bitch
as much
every 2 sentences because he's proven himself to be such a incredible lyricist
that you think it's just too low-hanging fruit for him to use those words.
I feel like
everybody who worked with Malcolm had nothing but respect for him. There was no bad blood, no shady stories. He moved like a real one, calm, confident, and deeply rooted in his values. He wasn't out here chasing clout. He was the blueprint for how a man should carry himself in this wild industry. Then out of nowhere, this man dies in a random freak accident after 54 years of clean living, solid health, and while on vacation in literal paradise with his family.
And Drake beef, which, they talk about how much they hate each other and give all these references to violence and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think, even though we enjoy those songs and they're bops, do you think that has a detrimental impact upon the culture ultimately?
Ultimately, yes. It's been normalized for, us to call ourselves the N-word, right? And we like to talk about how we've taken the power of that word back. But I'm of the school of thought. If I'm trying to speak love and upliftment to my brother, why am I going to borrow a word from people who use the word because they hate me? But we get caught up in, we're turning the N-word into a positive. But our music is not reflecting positivity, love, and upliftment of our culture. And we're at a point now where so much of especially our music, so much of our black music, when you strip away the music and just listen to the lyrics, so much of our black music is really anti-black.
Oh, you think so?
When you think about it, think of, you know, I mean, you almost cannot have hip hop without talking about drugs, using the N-word, and murking somebody.
Right.
You know, or calling a female, you know, a bitch or a hoe. Like that's become we've normalized that so much that I think we need a space where we can say, wait a minute, that's not all who we are.
It feels unfair. Way too soon. The only thing tragic about Malcolm's story is that it ended early. But let's be real. He lived a masterpiece of a life that deserves to be studied, celebrated, and remembered loud. But here's the part that needs to be said loud. Hollywood ghosted Malcolm while he was still alive, and now Katt Williams' warnings are aging like prophecy. Let's get something straight. Malcolm didn't fall off. He didn't fade out. He chose a different route. After The Cosby Show, he could have cashed in big sitcoms, flashy network deals, slapstick comedy roles.
How people feel about the ritual. It's about does following the ritual work. Yeah. And so you can fool yourself into thinking there isn't one, but the evidence will be clear. So like when I was like, all these guys are wearing dresses. Everybody's like, oh, he keeps talking about people wearing dresses. No, it's not.
That is a weird thing.
It's not like that. Look at it from a different way. Look at it. Show me one person that ever wore a dress in Hollywood unsuccessfully.
But he wasn't about to sell his soul for a check. He moved smart and intentional. He wasn't down to put on a dress. He wasn't going to act like some cartoon just to make folks laugh. He said no to the roles that made black men look like jokes. He wanted to stand for something real. And that rubbed the industry the wrong way, because they don't like when you think for yourself. That's where Katt Williams comes in. He's been yelling about this for years. In interviews, stand-up specials, podcasts, Katt been telling us how the game really works. He said if you're black in Hollywood, they try to box you into a character. And if you refuse to play that role, they'll label you crazy. They'll call you difficult. They'll blacklist you. Katt turned down those same clown roles, the suits, the wigs, the loud buffoonery, and what happened? He got painted as unstable. Now let's talk about Malcolm for real. He had everything the industry claims to love: talent, discipline, brains. But because he didn't fit their formula and refused to clown himself for the camera, Hollywood kept him benched, straight up. But here's the thing. Malcolm wasn't losing sleep over it. He didn't need their validation. He created his own lane. He launched a podcast called Not All Hood, where he kept it all the way real, calling out how Hollywood and the media love to box black folks into one tired image, like we all move the same. Instead of playing into the system, he backed projects with purpose. He acted in and produced plays, documentaries, and films that spotlighted black history, systemic racism, and education. He used his platform to educate and elevate, not entertain for a cheap laugh. And in 2021, he dropped a whole op-ed for the Television Academy that hit hard. He broke down how white executives, white writers, and white directors are still the ones calling the shots on how black people get shown on screen. Malcolm wrote, during the cycles where the gate hinges loosen lightly in black, in Hollywood, creatives are handed just enough input to feel like they have control. But let's be real, it's usually just smoke and mirrors. The stereotypes still creep in, even when the black characters wear suits and have money. They might switch up the packaging, but the message stays the same. Malcolm saw through all that. He didn't just call out Hollywood, he called out the culture too. He took a stand against what modern rap and hip-hop were pushing, especially the non-stop misogyny and toxic masculinity. He wasn't trying to cancel anyone, he was asking for accountability, for healing. And when that Kendrick versus Drake beef blew up last year and had the internet in a chokehold, Malcolm kept it real. He said hip-hop only seems to go viral when it's feeding into negativity, not when it's uplifting or saying something real. And again, that goes exactly with what Katt Williams has been yelling for years. The industry will only lift you up if they can spin your image how they want. Malcolm wasn't going for it. He wanted to show the world that black men could be complex, intelligent, and real. But people expected him to stay in that teen heartthrob box or take goofy sidekick roles. He rejected all that. Yeah, it cost him clout, but he kept his respect. Meanwhile, other black actors in his era were blowing up, but by doing the opposite, playing into caricatures, taking every check. Some of them made it work, no shade, but that was never Malcolm's path. Malcolm stayed in his own lane, and it cost him. In interviews, he even dropped hints that his own team told him straight up, "You're too serious, not marketable enough." Translation, too black, too smart, too real. So what did they do? They stopped calling it. And guess what? That lines up exactly with what Katt Williams has been screaming for years. If you don't play the fool, if you don't accept the industry's little humiliation rituals, they wipe you out like you never existed. But now that Malcolm's gone, oh, now it's a different story. Suddenly, the same Hollywood that ghosted him is calling him a legend and a pioneer. Social media is lit up with tributes, think pieces, and tearful celebrity posts. But where was all this love when he was still breathing? Because he didn't chase clout or sell out for a flashy role, the major platforms barely gave him any shine. Award shows looked past him. Big networks weren't giving him the calls. He was too authentic for their taste. Now all of a sudden, streaming platforms are claiming they've got unreleased Malcolm projects. Networks are hyping up tribute specials. Celebs posting throwback pics with long-winded captions like they always had his back. Let's be real. Overnight, they flipped the script and turned Malcolm into the safe black icon. Everybody wants to celebrate now, but that's textbook industry behavior. They don't uplift you for being real, for being principled, or for standing 10 toes down while you're still alive. No. They wait until you're gone and can't speak for yourself. Then they flip your legacy into a marketing tool for woke points and profit. And guess who called this out way before it happened? Katt Williams. He told us straight, the system only embraces black talent when it fits their script, and when that person can't fight back anymore. So now we gotta ask, is this real love, or just the usual Hollywood cleanup job once it's too late? Let's not get it twisted. Malcolm-Jamal Warner wasn't just some actor with a clean image. He stood for something. He stayed solid, grounded, thoughtful, and he never sold out. In a world that rewards clowns and chaos, Malcolm chose purpose over popularity. That's exactly why they overlooked him, until they couldn't anymore. His death isn't just heartbreaking, it's a wake-up call. It shows just how rare it is to see someone walk through this industry with integrity and still hold their head high. But now it's your turn. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Was Malcolm pushed to the side for refusing to play the game? And why does it always take death for the world to finally show respect? Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and tap that bell, and I'll catch you in the next one.